a little bit better. Millennials fall between the years of 1890 and the end of the 1990s, meaning that the next generation is now coming to age. The world's always been changing and always will be, whether people like it or not, and we're here hopefully to help people understand a little bit better. So, over the past week, I've found this is an interesting topic, and I feel like I say this at the beginning of every show, that people are going to complain because we keep going back to the same things we always talk about.
I mean, what else is there to talk about?
I mean, to be fair, we're talking about topics that matter to millennials, because the word millennial comes up a lot with this topic, and we're going to be talking about video games a little bit again tonight. So over the past week, this topic has rose up from the World Health Organization in its 11th edition of its International Classification of Diseases, which is the WHO, World Health Organization, and the ICD. The World Health Organization has announced gaming disorder as a new mental health condition. And just to clarify, what is gaming disorder? I've got the definition from their website here. Gaming disorder is defined as a pattern of gaming behavior, digital gaming or video gaming, characterized by impaired control over gaming, increasing priority given to gaming over other activities to the extent that gaming takes precedence over other interests and daily activities, and continuation or escalation of gaming despite the occurrence of negative consequences. And a little bit further down it says, for gaming disorder to be diagnosed, the behavior pattern must be of sufficient severity to result in significant impairment in personal, family, social, educational, occupational, or other important areas of functioning that would normally have been evident for at least the past 12 months.
That's my life.
I feel like I don't want to make a joke about it because it's kind of a serious issue, because they clearly thought it was a serious enough issue to put it into the ICD. But basically what they're saying is, if you as an individual feel the need that video games take precedence over other aspects of your life, that you start not attending social events or activities and staying distant, and you would choose playing video games over any other activity, that you might be suffering from what is known as gamer disorder or gaming disorder. And I forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, our email is up on the screen. If you want to go ahead and email us while we're talking about the topic tonight, millennials47, millennials47 @gmail.com. I feel like we sometimes we talk about how the email is hard to spell, because millennial is hard to spell.
Millennials is kind of hard to spell.
It is kind of hard to spell. But anyway, if you want to go ahead and send us an email and send us a question, it doesn't have to be about the topic we're talking about, or if it is, good. Anything you want to ask or talk about, go ahead and send us that through the email now. But anyway, back to the topic. Although it was announced and included in the 11th edition of the ICD, not all psychologists are actually agreeing that it's worthy of being included, which I'm kind of surprised about, because I feel like most people who see kids playing way too many video games, and they automatically kind of jump board on saying that, they're addicted to it, they can't stop, they need to stop playing games all the time. But if people are actually psychologists, and I believe the correct word is clinicians. I think that's the word I'm looking for.
Maybe,
I don't know, but psychologists for sure. They're actually not agreeing that it's worthy of being included in the ICD. Some say that gaming disorder is a form of addiction, of course, because if you're turning down other events and activities to play games, it sure looks like an addiction.
Yeah.
But other psychologists take a different approach to viewing these intense gaming sessions, and they say that those that oppose the gaming disorder inclusion in the ICD say that gaming is typically used, from their experience and from what they've seen, as a form of coping mechanism for anxiety and depression.
I can see that.
Yeah, and when this anxiety and depression is dealt with, the gaming actually goes down. And that's not to say that everybody uses it as a coping mechanism, and that's not to say that it's, whether that be on the good side or the bad side. But I think that's an excellent point, because I've personally, from my experience too, I know a lot of people who play a lot of games as sort of like an escape, I guess is the best way to put it. They kind of, that's their, they come home from work, you've had a rough day, and that's what they do to wind down. So I feel like that's understandable, but I find it funny that a lot of people are really questioning this. I feel like I'm kind of surprised, but I mean, what else can you say about it? It's just gaming addiction. You play too many video games.
I don't know. Like, growing up with it, I don't really have ever seen it as an addiction, just knowing because I'm a social kind of person when I go out.
Right.
But, I mean, I don't know. I already told my friends I'm staying home tonight to play video games.
Oh,
so.
yeah. I mean, well, to be fair, I mean, I've done the same thing. I've turned down going to do things because I would rather have games and stuff to do. I mean, I remember reading a thread on Reddit the other day about how goals in video games, even though they might seem pointless, you know, like you might have a goal to achieve something in a game within like the next couple of days or something. It seems pointless, but actually having that goal set and having something to do is actually like really nice.
Yeah.
It gives you something to do, like whether or not it may be just like personal achievement or
whatever. And it gives you like an extreme feeling of satisfaction.
Yes.
Like I've been playing this game recently and I've been stuck on this certain spot and I finally got past it. And the amount, and this took me like a week to do.
Yeah.
So the amount of satisfaction I took leveling up to get like ready for this spot and to get prepared and then finally beating it, it's just like insane.
Yeah, it's such a good feeling of satisfaction, but you know, and I'm not gonna say that I don't think that there are some people that are out there that are addicted to gaming and probably need some help to sort of kick those habits, but you know, it's not something where, you know, oh, do you play too many video games? You know, bam, you're diagnosed with gaming disorder.
Well, it's like, yeah, and like anything can be addictive. Anything.
Right.
Like, what's next? Are we gonna be like people who listen to too much music have a music disorder?
Yeah, that's right. It's like, you know, I mean, look at people who like read. Like, let's say you spend all your free time reading, and let's say, you know, you're home for the night. It's early afternoon on a Saturday, and your friends call up, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to go out and do this?"
And you're on the last chapter of your book.
Yeah, and you're like, "No, I'm going to stay home and read tonight." Like, oh, you've got reading disorder. Like, like it just seems a little ridiculous, just because like, and I understand because video games always kind of have like this. They always catch a lot of flack because, you know, a lot of people say, "Oh, they'll rot your brain out. They're not good for you. You're not really doing anything with your life." But I mean, if you look at it in a sense like that, like look at somebody who watches a lot of TV or Netflix, or, you know, people who read a lot or anything like that. I mean, it's
people who watch sports.
Yeah, like people who watch sports. I mean, yeah, you might be addicted to sports. You can't stop watching sports. But I mean, I feel like video games are always that one that everybody kind of seems to funnel down to and just be like, all right, video games are the one we're going to blame this time. Mm-hmm. But I think what's interesting about it is a lot of the critics of this gaming disorder being added to the ICU, or ICD rather, is that they think the actual definition is way too broad. And I read the actual like official definition just a moment ago, but many of them say that that they're not appropriately informed enough to understand the gaming population. Therefore, the diagnosis can just literally be incorrect. And I think that's fair. Because, like I said, you know, a lot of people play games for different reasons. Mm-hmm. So it's like, can you really appropriately diagnose people when there's so many different individuals, you know, playing games for different reasons? Like, can you kind of like, I mean, you know, dare I even say it? It's like people who categorize all millennials as being lazy because they know like 2 lazy young people. Yeah. Therefore, all of them are lazy.
So, and like, if you think about it, they're talking about this as a disorder. Does that mean they're going to start taking steps into like, is there going to be a video game rehab soon?
Yeah,
like, exactly. Is there going to be like
what kind
treatments?
What kind of like rehabilitation and treatment will there be? Like,
hopefully a cannabis-based treatment. You know what I'm saying?
Oh boy, boy. We really need to push for that episode, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
What a promo. But yeah, like because think about it. They I know people of all ages that play video games, you know, whether they be like super young or super old. And you can even look at like we talked about, I believe it's our first episode, we talked about Minecraft, how Minecraft is used as like a almost like an educational tool sometimes in like schools, like elementary schools and stuff. So like, can you even compare like a young child that plays Minecraft a lot to like, say like, you know, your standard adult, you know, in your mid-20s that plays like World of Warcraft every day? You know, you got to be on it. You got to be on at 8 p.m. That's raid night. And
raid night.
And you raid for like 4 or 5 hours straight with no breaks. Can you even compare the two? Like it's just such a broad definition. I feel like it's not really fair to.
That's nostalgic. I haven't had a raid night in years.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Well, I mean, hey, it's I mean, it's definitely something to think about because it's like, can we compare something like that? Because I mean, they make no real specifics when it comes to what classifies gamer disorder other than, turning down social activities and, being stuck to games, and whether the consequences are negative or not.
Gaming is not a social activity.
That's a very good point.
Every time I get on video games, I'm on with 5 other people.
Exactly.
That I've talked to.
I think we've stressed so many times on this show how technology has brought us together with so many people from across the world, and this gamer disorder is saying that if you're turning down social events and not wanting to go out and do other activities just to play games, you've got gamer disorder and you need to seek help. But again, going back to what I said, I feel like they don't understand the community as much because it's not always, if somebody's playing a game, they're not locked in their basement with the lights turned out and they're isolated from all of society to play this game. A lot of people play games with other people. Like me and my friends, there's 5 of us and all 5 of us could be playing something different, but we're still talking to each other while we do it typically. Yeah. So I mean, it's not like it's not a social interaction playing games. Because it really is. Now,
if you don't agree with us special snowflakes, you can email us. We're probably going to put the numbers on the screen after this break. And you can call us up, tell us how we're wrong, tell us how we're right, tell us how your day's going.
Yeah.
Tell us how your day's not going. I don't know. Just let us know.
I do want to extend the offer again to the people that called in to the Buzz last Tuesday. That had some criticism and critiques for us. Because if you're watching tonight, we didn't get that many calls while we were here last Thursday because we had that show. Unfortunately, you weren't here, but I had that show myself where we were going to be answering some of those critiques and everything, and nobody called in with any of the critiques that we heard on the Buzz. So if you have any of those critiques and you're watching and you still want to voice your opinion, just send them our way and we'll take them tonight. We always say that we kind of have a topic that we go for, but we'll talk about whatever. We don't care.
Yep.
So, but we mentioned you mentioned earlier, that's kind of opening the door with this gamer disorder. So too much of any activity could really be within reach of being considered an addiction or even a disorder. So it's like you said, read too much, watch too much TV, watch too much Netflix. So it's how do you determine?
I have a lot of disorders then.
Yeah,
I might
exactly.
have to write them down.
Exactly. But this is one that I thought was it was funny at first, and I was like, wow, this really kind of paints people who play games in such a negative light. BBC actually came out with an article right after the ICD came out, and they made this really rather odd statement saying that 20 hours of gaming a week could qualify as an addiction.
Yikes, I might do 20 hours of gaming a day.
Yeah, I think that I could probably, on some days where I'm really going in, I could probably get 20 hours in 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
But, I read the article, and actually what they did was they spoke to some people who played games, and they were school-age boys, they were still in high school, I believe. And they said they likely played 20 or more hours a week. And but there's no real indication or mention whether or not that these guys are doing poorly or failing in school or that their personal lives are non-existent or anything like that, and that they actually do prioritize games over anything else. There's no real
connection there.
Yeah, there's no real connection. They just kind of interviewed some people and were like, oh yeah, we probably could play 20 hours of games a week.
And they're probably like, oh my god.
Yeah,
they must not have a social life because all the rest of the hours must be recovery time for this gaming.
Recovery time. Yeah, so it's I feel like this is such a bad move on BBC's part because it really paints it in a really negative light because if we're up here joking saying, oh, we could do 20 hours in 2 or 3 days if we really wanted to. But somebody who's a little bit more misinformed about how people who play games are, they might see this BBC article and be like, oh wow, 20 hours a week is enough to be considered an addiction, and then that sort of makes everybody who plays games look bad because I think people who regularly play games understand that 20 hours a week is really not that much time. I mean, if you do the math, let's just look at during the week, during Monday through Friday, that's what, 4 hours a day? And that's just Monday through Friday.
4 hours a day?
That's
maybe a little bit more than that, to be honest.
I mean, are we talking like for us?
Oh, I thought you were talking about.
Well,
for
I
us.
was doing the math, like
Oh,
20,
yeah, that's like
20
4
hours
hours
a
a day.
week. Yeah, 4 hours a day, not counting weekends, and those are the free days.
Yeah.
But
Yikes.
yeah, so I feel like it's, a lot of people will look at people who play games and they'll think, oh, they must be lazy, they don't do anything, they don't accomplish anything. And now it's like, oh, we pinned that 20 hours on them.
Oh,
and,
we got 'em.
Oh man, 20 hours is all it takes. But I feel like it's really like a false narrative against the people who play games.
Well, we have a caller, but we're going to take a break real quick. Caller, please hang on. So this is Misunderstanding Millennials with me, Chance, and Jonathan. We'll be right back.
back to Misunderstanding Millennials. We're going to get the phone lines on the screen. They are on there now. We have a caller waiting, so we'll go ahead and take that.
Hi, caller, you're on there.
Well, good evening, guys.
Hey,
Good evening to you, too.
Yeah, this is Charles of Danville.
Yep.
Now, let's talk about a little something different, guys, tonight. Can we talk about the thing up in Maryland, please?
Inform us on it. Inform us on that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Well, they said a single white male went up into the building, started shooting at.
Oh, you're talking about the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they said 5, I believe, were confirmed dead, several wounded. It was a white male done the shooting, and when they found him, he was cowardly under a desk.
Wow, that's
Jeez.
crazy.
Wow. You know,
My condolences go out to the family, and I hope the wounded get, healed quick and all that. But we should not be doing that to the press or anything.
No, that's
no.
insane.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. I actually, now that you mention it, I heard about that like right as I was about to come up here for the show today, so I didn't really get a chance to look into it, but I did hear about that. And it's really sad. I haven't heard the full story of what happened or like the motive or anything, but
Well, they hadn't said anything. They questioned, well, what the news said that they're questioning him now, and they ain't released his identity or anything, but his race.
Do you know what type of weapon he used?
They said a long gun. That's all I heard was a long gun. I think.
yeah, we'll definitely have to look into that and maybe have some information. Did they? So the only information about the guy that they have in custody now is his race, and that's it.
Yeah, about all I know is what I heard. Maybe the veteran. I call him the veteran. He calls in, talks to y'all sometimes. But he probably heard more, maybe, or somebody else has. But this is all the information that I've got from the news about the man doing the shooting. But it's sad that the people who bring us the news, and normally every news station to me says the same thing. If ABC says something, the rest of them says everything too that I listen to. And I'm not going to sit here and dispute people because it ain't worth our time and my time, because they all talk about the same thing because they want the ratings.
That's very true. Yeah.
And I mean, even you guys know that because y'all work there at Star News, and it's just wrong to do that. If he was mad, he could have petitioned maybe the city council, or could have wrote a letter to the editor to publish his anger against the news media, and it would have been put out on the news.
Yeah, this is just another reason why we need like more mental health benefits for these type of people, because just you being able to go anywhere you want and shoot up and kill, you said 5 people and wounded more? That's just...
That's what I'm told. 5 were dead and some wounded.
That's insane. That's really insane.
That is ridiculous. I mean, especially that he can just get away with that.
This thing I need to know real quick, I just want to let you know, our schools need metal detectors and search and seizure program. I mean, a thing where you can search the student before they come in, with a wand or something. No, touching them, but just a metal detector to, detect, little, maybe like a metal detector and a little thing to scan their bags and stuff, and have the right to seize a weapon or anything that does not belong in our schools today. I believe the money can be found if our government actually, in other words, man up and do it.
I totally agree with you. I know we had one show that we talked about. I think we talked about guns in general, and we talked about Sam Page here in Rockingham County was talking about wanting to put armed volunteer guards into the schools, and I'm just like, but I know you mentioned like metal detectors and stuff like that. Like, it seems like we can do stuff like that in airports. We can do it in airports. I don't see why we wouldn't be able to do it in like a school.
The only thing
for children.
Yeah, I understand that. The only thing,
especially for our future.
Exactly.
Because after our generation going away, it's going to be up to their generation to carry on where we left off.
That's right. Yeah.
But the only thing I see that might be an issue with that is when I went to high school. Our student base was 1,000 kids inside this one building. So having every kid swept up and down with a metal detector, and if the metal detector goes off on anything, having to search them,
takes a lot of time.
That takes a long time. So you're gonna have to with that, you'll have to probably increase school hours, or you'll have to.
Well, you could just take the student to the side with a principal with a video camera to prove they're not harming the student or anything to, show a video.
I don't know.
They need to close these extra doors where they go in at. They need to come in the front. They come in the front door. But we need armed volunteers who are probably from the military, who has done military policing, who knows how to handle situations like that, and also go for evaluations probably every 3 months to 4 months.
Yeah. What do you think about increasing school infrastructure and making that more safe, like more locks on doors and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because
I would like on doors that lock the doors that not. In other words, have the students all come in through the front door, have extra eyes on the doors that are open during school hours need to be. But the money can be found somewhere. But if the citizens believe in their future of the children, that won't hurt them to pay a little bit more tax money for something as security for children. They are this country's future. The airport, if the airport can have it, we can have it for a school, because pretty soon they're going to be in our newsrooms and probably several other places that people are going to have to go through.
Oh, yeah. I totally agree with you. I think it's ridiculous to think that we can do something like that in an airport, but we can't do something like that or find the money to do that to protect children.
Yeah, they can take some of that airport money where they give them every year. Do they give the airport money? The government?
That's a good question. I'm actually not sure.
I'm not sure. It might be the airline.
I'm not sure
company
if
itself.
if TSA is like a private organization or if that's a.
But I know they started investing in that after 9/11.
Yeah.
After a big tragedy like that.
Yeah.
So maybe.
They in the condo. I mean, this area here, they could try them out. It won't hurt to try them out to get it started, because they're not that they're lazy and they just don't want to do it. They just don't want to admit up that they need to secure our schools and secure the future of the United States, of these children. This is why they're pushing back. And the more we don't help, the more they're going to push back at the generation here.
That's funny that you say they're lazy, because that's what we get called
I know,
all the time.
we get called lazy a lot, but
So,
it is what it is.
But this generation coming up behind us is not lazy, I think. They are bold. They are not afraid to speak their minds. And if they want to, they could run at, 18 years old? I mean, then to get their friends, their family members, and friends of friends to vote for them, to get them in there, hopefully, then maybe they'll learn the government a little bit better. They can learn it at home on computers.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Well, we thank you so much, caller.
Okay, bye, guys.
All right,
Thank
bye.
you so much for your call. We really appreciate it.
Hi, caller, you're on the air.
Yeah, speaking of voting, what are y'all registered to vote? And one thing I've noticed, why aren't the millennials voting? Like, why ain't they registered to vote?
Okay, I'm registered to vote.
I am registered to vote, yeah.
And I personally don't live in Rockingham County. I live in Greensboro, so I vote there. But I feel like the reason millennials aren't voting is because we're tired of having to pick in between the lesser of two evils.
Yeah.
There's no one running for our needs. They're running for the needs of the older generation and what they want, and they're it's just like not really fitting our expectations as a political platform, and we don't want to accept that.
Yeah, I feel like
that's understandable, because I've noticed that in our local government, I know that we can make changes and y'all can make changes, but up in the White House, I understand what y'all saying. There ain't nothing we can do about that.
Yeah.
But for the millennials, we need y'all to get out there and get people voting, because y'all are going to make the changes if we get enough people out there to vote.
No, I agree.
We showed that. We showed that in the Rockingham School Board.
Right.
No, I agree with you on this. Millennials do need to vote. They really do need to get out there and vote, because once you pick the lesser of two evils so much, it's eventually not going to be evil anymore.
Right, and I hate to sound like, we had a discussion with Charles on the show about it the other last week, I believe, and I said something about we feel like our representation doesn't matter to anybody, and like nobody wants to listen to us anyway. So we get to a point to where it's like, why even bother when we're trying to choose between two people who don't care about our needs anyway? And it's sad, but it's true that a lot of people feel like that. And I wish they didn't, because everybody needs to know that their vote does matter, no matter if you're just one individual or not.
And look, we're about to come up with some elections that we need y'all to vote on locally, or kick Phil out. We need to get him out, and we need to get weed legalized. Peace.
Yes.
We were actually just talking about some of those issues right before the show started today, and we would love to do more of a local sort of political episode and talk about our thoughts and stuff on that closer to when it starts to come around, and see if we can arrange some people coming on and talking with us.
All right. Well,
thank you so much for your call, caller. We're probably going to have to go to a break anyway. So we're going to go to a break. We'll be back here in just a moment. Keep the calls coming. We'll check the email during the break, and we'll be back after this. Misunderstanding Millennials. We have a caller standing by. We're going to go and take that as we start here.
Hi, caller, you're on there.
Why do y'all feel like that nobody listens to y'all or understands you? My daughter kind of felt that way, and so she just said her head it didn't make no difference to her, and she joined the Army at 18.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that it depends on who the person is, but you know, as we've seen, I mean, some of the people who
We never
call.
thought she would do that because she was kind of backward and in school didn't have many friends, and we just didn't think she would do it. But it really helped her, and she stayed long enough to when she got out, it paid for her to go to college.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And then my granddaughter, she was a physical therapist by the time she was 19. So the young can do.
Oh yeah, for
definitely.
sure. We can make a difference out there.
At the age to be called in service too, aren't you?
Yeah, we are. I just, I don't know. The point you were saying was like how we don't think people listen to us.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, you can look at some of the backlash that we've gotten from people for the show saying that we're, you know, all millennials are lazy, they're arrogant, they're self-absorbed. So, like, we feel like a lot of people sort of misunderstand us. Therefore, it's like,
Misunderstanding
I don't
Millennials.
like to hear myself about the game.
yeah, and I understand that. But a lot of the issues that people bring up, because we, you know, like I said, I watched Charles' show and people called in, and a lot of people want to comment on the technology use of millennials. So we feel like that's a good subject to kind of cover because it's something.
I don't even think you should use the word millennial and old people, and I don't believe in stepchildren and half brothers.
Yeah.
It ain't no such a thing as half brothers and sisters, and ain't no such a thing as stepchildren. I mean, there's not steps. I think everybody, I don't know, we're all ones without a kid. We just a little older.
Yeah, and I totally
We're
understand.
wise than y'all, we may be dumber.
Well,
It
I
just
don't want to.
depends on what we think of ourselves. Me, I'm 78, and I probably got more nerve now than I had when I was y'all's age. I was a mother at 17, and my husband was a daddy at 18. At the time I was 21, we had 2 children. So I've been something I reckon that made me feel important when I had my children.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because I was real shy and backward in school too, and you know, wasn't that good. But now my husband was, and he had all kinds of sense. He was an electrician and plumber. He didn't have to take any courses, anything for it. It just come natural, just like my daughter can play any music instrument, any kind, and she's never had one lesson. But she's bound determined to do it. She liked to run us crazy, playing at bars at time. But don't y'all ever feel like it. Nobody's going to listen to you, and your vote don't matter and all that, because it does.
Oh yeah, I just feel like a lot of people get very discouraged because, like I said before, a lot of people like to lump all millennials.
Can lead to depression.
Yeah. And a lot of people like to lump all millennials into this, you know, sort of hive mind of being lazy and arrogant. And, you know, that's a really discouraging sort of thing to worry about because, you know, if people keep telling you that, you're eventually going to believe it.
He's got plenty of them in his family. Nothing in the world wrong with them. They don't do nothing. They get welfare and everything. There's nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
I've had to work all my life with heart condition. I never got no disability.
Yeah,
but that's the thing is like, you know, when a couple of millennials who kind of...
Just to see them deliberately do not want to work because they do not want to work.
Yeah, but a lot of millennials, you know, or a lot of people look at like a few bad millennials that they know that don't do anything.
I don't call them millennial. I just call them pure out lazy.
Yeah, that's true. And you know, I think the gap of the generation gap of having like the titles and everything, like I think it's kind of like weird but funny. But you know, this whole generation gets lumped together, like I said.
Like I've got a niece not much older than, probably not no older than the oldest one of y'all. I can't get your name straight. And she's got 4 children.
Yeah.
The government's keeping all of them, but she don't do anything.
Yeah.
Every one of them's a different man. I mean, you know, that burns me up. And I'm just waiting for the day when the government catches her and does something about you know, just keep on bringing babies in the world and sit back and not take care of them and let the government look after them.
Yeah,
Feed them and everything.
I totally understand.
And y'all not bad.
Thank you. I
We
appreciate
just
you.
don't
that.
like to hear about I don't know nothing about a computer and all that stuff. I guess it's why it don't interest me. I don't even really like movies. Like Charles Wilk has to put the old theater. I don't
Yeah.
know if it paid.
Yeah, and we
They gave me
understand.
a ticket and I didn't go.
Well, don't worry. We're going to be focusing on some more non-technology and computer-related topics. This one just kind of came up earlier this week, and it just kind of fell in
Clicked.
place to where it was like,
You know, to start with, y'all that was about the only thing you talked about.
Yeah. But we're really wanting to branch out. You know, like we said, we want to start getting out, like at the cruise in and talking to some
And that
people.
guy that done the shooting a while ago, earlier today, also was 3 doctor's offices in that building.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a shotgun he had, I think.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. I actually
Anyway,
meant to look that up during our
He's gonna
break.
still listen to you.
There you go. I appreciate that.
Thank you so much. We really
Bye.
appreciate it.
Bye.
But yeah, that's what worries me. You know, like Charles, that one time that he called, he was like, you know, oh, we all are just making excuses and complaining. But you know, when you lump 80 million people together and say all of them are arrogant and lazy and all that, I mean, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't, because you know, like there are people out there that aren't like that, and you know, when they're really just told by a lot of people that that's how they are, even though it's not, it's kind of like a
stereotype.
It's a stereotype, and it's pretty demeaning. And of course, you're not going to feel like what you have to say matters after that.
Yeah.
Because if people tell you that everything you say doesn't matter, of course you're not going to try anymore. I mean, that's how I feel about it, at least.
But we won't stop trying because we're
Yes.
determined.
We're determined, I guess.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
I guess it's time for us to take a break.
Yeah, we'll
real
go
quick.
ahead and take another break, and we'll be back after this with some more discussion. last few minutes here. Well, we talked about a lot.
We did talk about a lot today.
Everything we talked about. We've been talking about the World Health Organization, gaming disorder, the shooting at the newspaper today, which I can't remember the name of it. Actually, let me look it up. I actually just had it up a second ago. I did look up some information about that. So far, that they're saying that multiple are injured and 5 are confirmed dead, and I believe the suspect was to be 39 years old, and that it was just a statement that it was a long gun, no actual statement on what kind of gun it was. But there was no gunfire between him and police, and he has been apprehended, and they were going to conduct a search on his home. But I think that's all the information that's out there right now. But that was the Capital Gazette in Maryland.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's really sad. I really hate that.
That is sad as a member of the media.
Yeah. I mean, maybe I'm exaggerating a little bit here, but I don't. That's another thing where people like to, complain about media and fake news and everything, and talking about that, like trying to paint media out in a bad light is like they're just trying to do their job. Like, no need to roll up in anywhere and attack people, not in the slightest. But we've got a few more minutes here. We have an email that we can go ahead and read that just came in. Fact, once you have kids, your life stops. You start living and raising that kid, your life works, even if it's child support. You can't buy new gaming devices, your life stopped. I never had kids at 64. The old veteran, as Charles says, hey, I have a 1,000 horsepower airboat out back that I still try to make go faster. I have a mechanic shop and a separate paint booth, all block building. With kids, they might have this, but not me. Think before kids. Look at that woman talking about her family having 4, 8, 24 kids and don't do nothing but suck off the government. Oh well, wait on having them kids. At 22, I was in Germany guarding the Czech border and partying. That's fair.
I guess that's fair. I'm never having kids, so.
Well, that's fair. You know, a lot of people actually criticize millennials for not wanting to have kids.
So I'll adopt.
That's a very good point. A lot of people criticize millennials for adopting too. Which is funny to me. It's really funny to me.
Why would you adopt? Like, why wouldn't you adopt? Like, there are kids out there needing homes. Why would you just make more population?
Like, I've never been the kind of person where I'm like, oh yeah, I can't wait to have kids, because I understand what the emailer said. Like, once you kind of have kids, like,
I know
they're not trying to sound bad, but there goes your life pretty much.
Yeah, and like sounding like I know some people who watch this station that definitely don't want another me running around. So.
That's fair. But yeah, thank you, emailer, for that. You bring up a good point. And, I don't have the exact statistic on me at this very moment, but millennials are having, they're postponing like marriages and having kids a lot further into their lives than a lot of the previous generations. I don't know, that's just a fun fact, because since we're on the topic. I don't have the exact statistic, but I just know that they're postponing it.
Cool.
Fun fact. Again, we've got like 4 more minutes if anyone wants to email in or call, ask us a question. It doesn't have to be about the topics tonight. If you want to ask us about anything, ask us about any weird thing that millennials do that you want to know why they do it. We'll try and help you out a little bit. I guess we could talk about, I was going to say plans for next week, but I don't know if we really think that far ahead.
We do not think that far ahead, I promise you that.
We had all the callers call in talking about, the elections coming up, because the graphic just came up on the screen that reminded me. Thank you. And, we really do want to talk about some more political issues in the local aspect than we have before. We kind of have just been sort of waiting to spring that plan into action, just like the interviewing people at the cruise in and stuff. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that last week. We have another email come in. Let's spread love these days. Too much negativity. Let's make the world a better place. Thank you so much, emailer. Yes, we want to spread the love. We want people to stop hating each other for dumb reasons.
Heck yeah.
Because there's a lot of negativity. There's a lot of negativity, and it kind of sucks because nobody wants to be negative, or at least I don't want to be negative.
I don't want to be negative.
Yeah, as you can see with his ukulele here, we're trying to spread the positivity.
Yep, but, that's me. Spreading love and positivity right here.
But I think that we'll definitely have some interesting topics coming up here in the future. We would like to talk about some legalizations of some topics that I don't want to spoil.
Yeah. Don't spoil that.
We don't want to spoil that topic, even though we said it like 3 times.
Yes, sir.
But we'll talk about that. We want to talk about some local election stuff. And we hopefully will have some guests on here. I think that would be pretty cool. I don't know if we have much room at this desk for a guest. We might have to relocate.
We might have to relocate.
But
yeah.
It's doable, and we're looking into
doable.
it, and I think it'll be fun. You know, I don't know why this just came to mind since we're here at the tail end of the show and we don't have any emails or callers calling or anything, but you know, if you're young, if you're a millennial and you watch the show, I really would like for you to reach out to me because I would like to hear some millennial opinions of people who have seen this show. I'm not really sure how many people that are our age or around our age actually do watch the show, whether it be on YouTube or on television. But you know, if you're watching the show and you're under the age of 30. Reach out to us. You know, we want to hear from you. We want to know what your thoughts are on what we talk about and what you want to hear about, or you know, even what the older generations want us to talk about, because we talk about technology too much.
Yeah.
But you know,
let's start talking about a little bit more serious
topics.
Yeah.
We want to get serious. But you know, I feel like the topic was especially since it came out Monday, it was an interesting thing. You know, I think the World Health Organization might be stepping over its boundaries a little bit to begin with, and maybe they're jumping the gun a little bit with their gaming disorder. Just remember, more than 20 hours a week. No more than 20 hours.
No more 20 hours, or you're an addict.
You're an addict. That's how it works. I guess we'll go ahead and close the show here. I just want to say thank you for everybody that called in and emailed tonight. We had a lot of calls and emails tonight.
Yes, we did.
If you want to keep up with us, check us out at Misunderstanding Millennials on Facebook. You can check out Misunderstanding Millennials on YouTube to see all of our previous live streams and episodes documented if you want to go back and watch something again. I think that's pretty much it. I guess we're good. Tune in next week and we'll talk about something that we have no idea what we're going to talk about yet. But it'll probably be interesting, and it won't be about technology. I'll promise that. So,
no, it will not.
I'm Jonathan Mills.
I'm Chance Ramsdale.
Thank you for watching. We'll be back next Thursday at 7 p.m.